Hey there, I'm Kimberly, ADHD mom of three, entrepreneur, and your guide to the beautiful, messy journey of life. If you're a busy mom juggling it all, a woman in business trying to make it work, or just a woman looking for a space to grow and thrive, you're in the right place. This is the podcast where imperfection is celebrated and authentically is everything. Let's get started. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Amazing Beautiful You. My name is Kimberly Gonzalez, and I am the host, and blessed and thankful to be able to be on a new journey of doing my podcast and just something new that's in my life. It's just kind of exciting when you get to start new stuff. But I would love it if you would just be able to share this podcast and just if you feel blessed and led to write me, email me, or just add a comment and a review, I would love that. Today I'm doing a special, just extra bonus podcast. And if you listen to my last podcast before this, I did a special one in honor of my husband and my marriage. And I'm outside today. It is a beautiful day. I was saying I left my house fan on, and it was like 55 degrees in my house. So it was cold. So it's warmer outside than it is inside. And we're just going to try to bear the wind. It has been windy every single day. You would think that I'm in Colorado. You would think that we live in Wyoming at this point for the amount of wind that we have gotten, because Wyoming is known for their wind. But I'm beginning to think that Colorado is going to be known for their wind as well. And I've got my 3 dogs with me and my chickens. So you may be hearing some dog barking and chickens. But you know what? I love that I can come and be real with you for everyday life, chaos and all. And sometimes I just don't like recording in my dark basement. Maybe one day I'll be able to fix it up. But I love being outside. I'm an outside person. I love getting my feet into the grass, which at the moment, the ants have overtaken our yard, and between having 14 puppies last year and the ants, our grass is not so much grass anymore. We have a lot of ant hills. But I wanted to do a special one today for mothers out there, and happy Mother's Day to all just the beautiful mothers out there, including all of my dog and chicken and cat and, you know, guinea pig, whatever animal you have, moms. And I feel like being a mom is something that I know I've always wanted to do. Ever since I was a little girl, I would carry around these baby dolls. And these baby dolls, if you know what I mean, these baby dolls are private parts and all. And I remember asking my mom, because I had baby dolls. And I remember my best friend Brooke and I would love to just play mommies. And, it's like we're going grocery shopping and we'd carry all these babies around and change diapers. And I remember I was like, Mom, I really want, a baby doll that's like more realistic. And so my mom bought me this realistic baby doll, and it looked real, like the hair, the face, just the size, even down so much to the weight. And then of course the private parts. And I got a cute little boy. And, I was like, I just have always wanted to be a mom to a son, just, because I've always wanted that. I've always wanted to be a mom to a son. And so my mom had gotten me this, and my best friend's mom had bought her one too. So we each had these realistic baby dolls that we would just carry around. And now that I think about it, I think it's in my toy box. I'm gonna have to look and give you guys an update. But I think that I still have this baby, and I think after this podcast recording, I'm going to go look for it. But I was thinking about today, just that Mother's Day is coming up, and I am so incredibly blessed because not only do I have one mom, but I have 2 moms. And I even have possibly a 3rd mom. I count Nancy as one of my mothers. She was my best friend's mom, and I love her dearly. And I just have had so many incredible, wonderful memories with Nancy, and I still do. I still talk to her daily, and maybe not every day, but I still talk to her, and send her a message. And, she's always been a mom like to me. But today I wanted to focus just on these 2 women who have just been such an incredible part of my journey. of being a mom and just even the love and the different things that these two ladies brought to my life. So if you're joining me, grab some coffee and heat it up for like the 10th time, like I do. Grab a Gatorade. I got a Gatorade today. Grab some tea. I love iced tea, some water, and come join me in my stories today. And if you have a mom that you lost, uh, I just want to hold you close. I want to hold you close because it's not easy to lose a mom. And I want you guys to grab some tissue, because this might be a heartfelt one. So if you're driving, pull over. Or if you can do without crying, but be ready. Hold on to your moms tight. So I was thinking, and I wrote this in my blog. I wrote this in my blog for my Pure Evergreen, my business, my product business. And I had done a blog because I wanted to do something to honor these two women in my life that I loved. And I wanted to surprise my mom. I didn't tell her I was doing a blog post on this. So, and she doesn't even know I'm doing a podcast on it. So this will be the second surprise. But I was like, how can I honor, that's my dog Gunner. How can I honor these women? So, what is a mother? We think about what a mother is. Okay. A mother is more than just a woman who gave you life. She is the heartbeat of your home. She's the whisper of wisdom in all the crazy chaos and the strength that holds generations together. Am I right? She's the one that not only juggles these endless task lists, which I can think of my list now, but she's the one that but the crazy like she's the one that goes through these crazy drive-through lines that you have to get in and out of. You know what I'm talking about. If you're even if you're listening right now and you're in that drive-through line, God bless your heart, you guys. It is almost over. It is almost done with school. And just the one that makes all the appointments and that shows up in the world when everybody else walks out. She's the one that makes something out of nothing. And I'm thinking about this, you guys, like dinner, right? When us women that, we're opening up the fridge and we're like, what are we going to do for dinner? It has been so chaotic. I haven't had time. And you like find odds and ends. Like you find some rice and then you find carrots the other night that you had. And then you find like maybe some chicken that, like shredded chicken that you had. And you're like, I'm going to throw all this together and mix it and we're going to call it a casserole. How many of you guys ladies have done that? How many of you moms have done that? They're the ones that do that. They're the ones that can make a masterpiece out of just all the messes. And all by having a million thoughts running through their heads. Am I right? That is me. I have like a million thoughts running my heads. I even made dinner early this morning because today's Cinco de Mayo. I'm recording early and today's Cinco de Mayo. And I was like, what can I do to prepare so I'm not so crazy at the end of the day and being tired? So we're trying to juggle all these endless things. Am I right? A mom is the one that can handle these things. And if you have a mom out there that maybe didn't do all these things, know that you are loved, but that there is a mom out there that does love you. And like I said, I'm very fortunate to have a few moms out there that may not be my blood mom, but they are moms to me in my heart, and I love them. So, a mother creates comfort in her words. So when a mom gives her words of wisdom, her love is just stitched into every scraped knee that she's kissed, every lunch that she's so carefully and thoughtfully packed, and every night that she's stayed up taking care of others. I mean, if you're a dog mom, you still love these guys, don't you? Yes. My Goldens are coming up to me. They want kisses. A mother is just a woman who makes a difference in your life. She's loved you unconditionally and she showed up for you and she prays over you. There's been many times that I have gone into my children's rooms and I have prayed over my children. And even now, as they are teenagers and one's an adult, going to school for college. And there have been many times that I'll come in there and sneak in while they're sleeping and pray over them. A mom is just a part warrior, that we fight where we're ready to go for anything that's about to happen. We're part artist, all the things that we have to create and help with school projects. And, we are part miracle worker trying to make these things happen. We balance all the grit, like Grace, like a seasoned craft person. And whether she's like you said, your mom by birth or a mom by heart or by God's divine design, moms are irreplaceable. And today I honor these incredible women. And I am just so blessed to have these women that are in my life. My mom, Linda, and my mother-in-law, Karen. One of them, which is my mom, has taught me to brave the grocery store dumpster bins and see the value in what others throw away. The other one took me by the hand and showed me how to find beauty in something that looked like it was trash. And that would be my mother-in-law. Together, both of those ladies have just a God-serving heart. They find the blessings in every situations. And I kind of think of it like a hot glue gun. All those times with the hot glue gun with my mom's gluing stuff, they've stuck together and they have showed their love, and I'm forever grateful for that. So I would say that I'm a very blessed woman. It's not every day that you guys can tell someone that you've known your mother-in-law pretty much your entire life. Our family and my husband's family would do meals together. Sorry, guys. Um, our families would do, I didn't put makeup on because I knew I'd be crying. Um, our families would do meals together and we would do mission trips. And I remember a little girl, all the way up to being a teen, my mother and my mother-in-law would organize these mother-daughter banquets for the church ladies. They would go out and they would find speakers and they would hunt places to host this event because they didn't want to do it at the church. They wanted to do it at a place where it was just beautiful. And they would go and look for catering companies because they wanted to go all out to make these women and their daughters a mother-daughter banquet to make it feel so beautiful in a time. They would work so hard on it. And Karen, mother-in-law, let me just tell you, this was the woman that could find the most oddest things and turn them into these beautiful, gorgeous, elegant designs. Like, I'm telling you, just the craziest things that she would find. She would come up with these beautiful centerpieces and decorations from something so simple. And my mom has the gift of being a leader. She's got the gift of just, my mom's a kindergarten teacher, okay? She's a retired kindergarten teacher. Let me just tell you, my mom has always been a leader. And I've watched my mom from day one lead Bible studies since I was a little girl. My mom was a leader, and she was always so good at planning things and hosting them. Another favorite memory I had with my my mother-in-law and my mom was the ladies' craft day. And I remember going to these since I was a little girl. Actually, I was little, and I remember a time my mom would go to them. And, I wasn't old enough quite to go to them. And then as I got a little older, I started going to the ladies' craft day. And again, my mom would organize and plan for like such an incredibly fun day. And I remember we would get there early at the church. And our church was like, we had the little chapel and we had the big chapel. And the little chapel is where we would host it. And she would have all these tables up against a wall. And what we had to do for these ladies' craft days is that you had to make a sample craft. So a completed sample craft. And then you had to have, I believe it was 4 or 5 baggies, like Ziploc baggies, and you had to put the kit in it. So all the things that you made with that, you would put it in the bag, and then you'd put the directions. And let me just tell you, there was hot glue guns everywhere, plugged to every outlet. There was extension cords with hot glue guns. It was a hot glue gun kind of a day. Like that's where you would see them. And people would walk away with hot gun burns. You're not a true crafter unless you have a glue gun burn. Am I right? And they planned it. My mom would have a lady come and speak. Somebody would speak. Nancy would sing, and Nancy has such an incredible, beautiful voice. that I could hear her sing. I love hearing her sing. It just brings some kind of peace to my mind. And again, this was my best friend, my childhood best friend. And Nancy just was gifted as well as her daughter. My best friend was gifted with this beautiful voice. And they would sing. And then we would have a time where we would have a break, so we would do all our crafts in the morning. And then um, right around lunchtime, we'd start cleaning up the tables and getting everything done. And everybody brought a salad to share. So they would have all these salads laid out on the table. And um, I remember like my mother-in-law making some incredibly good soup, and this other lady from our church, Victoria, she would make this incredible soup. Like both of them, they just made soup, and everybody would bring these delicious salads, pasta salads, you name it. Like it was just so yummy. And then while we would eat, we would listen to the speaker and we'd walk away. And I remember my mom and I would be the last to, close up and clean up. But I enjoyed those. And do you know, I still have a lot of those crafts today in my house. Some of them are slowly falling apart because that was, I don't know, 40 years ago. That was a long time ago. And, um, I still have some of those, and it was just crazy. Um, and it was just such a fun day. And I know the ladies' craft day was not something that you would just bring a dollar store one. You would not just go to the dollar store and pick out dollar store. People really worked hard on these. And I sure do miss that. And it just, I wish that I want to start something like that here as a way to fellowship and start in my home. But God has not given me the direction to do that yet. But I know that's something that I've been praying about doing. And I know it would be fun to carry on that legacy. Um, One of the other crazy memories that I had was just thinking about it. I talked about like one of the first memories that I had was, I talked about in the beginning how my mom we'd go out, dumpster diving at these grocery stores. And no, you guys, I don't want to be like, oh, that's gross, nasty, or whatever. This was back in a time where, this is just really going to share my age, but they would throw out good food. And it was like, we kind of knew when they were going to throw it out, and it was still fresh. So it wasn't sitting in the trash, for a long time. And it was obviously in the top part, and they were still in boxes, and there'd like be heads of lettuce, and there would just be like, obviously there wasn't meat products, but it was mostly vegetables. And that's how we were thrifted. That's how we saved money, and my mom, I learned a lot from that. I learned that, you know, to just be thrifty, to, I guess, appreciate the value in things. Another memory that I had, I remember like, so we get on our bikes. That's what it was. We get on our bikes and, we'd bring bags with us, and we were trying to carry these boxes back with stuff, and we just load it up. And I remember going when my mom couldn't go. I remember as a teenager going down there and doing this. So my parents would have, food, and it was just neat just to carry on that memory. And obviously now, it's hard to do. Another one of my memories that I had with my mom was my mom and I went to go get our ears pierced. I was so excited. My dad was like so against us piercing the ears, and I've always wanted my ears pierced. I was like, all my friends are having their ears pierced. I want my ears pierced. My mom, you know, had never had her ears pierced, so we decided to go make it a special day, right? We're like, this is going to be a great mother's, day where we're going to just go and get our ears pierced. And so I remember we got into this, it was like I don't know, it was like a storefront, like storefronts. And it was a jewelry place, and they pierced ears. I think what they specialized too with piercing ears. And so we get in there, and I had already gotten my ears pierced. So my ears were already done. And I remember like it was my mom's turn. So my mom got her right ear pierced, and they're just about ready to pierce my mom's other side. And somebody burst open the doors and says, does anybody know CPR? And so me being, the, loudmouth child and just the firstborn and outgoing, I was like, my mom's a kindergarten teacher. She knows CPR. My poor mom. So, of course, my mom. I love my mom. I love my mom for this because she didn't hesitate for a moment. She got out of that chair, still wearing this cape, and had her one ear pierced. And she went out there and she pretty much saved this man's life. He was having a heart attack and she pretty much saved this man's life. And the paramedics took this man away. And I was thinking, wow, my mom's like a superhero. Like, this is so cool. And she just walked right back into the jury, the jury place and got her other ear pierced. So that was another wonderful memory that I had. Um, my mom just was so brave. Like, I don't know if I could do that, honestly. And so time passed and I was in high school and I loved Karen. So Karen's my mother-in-law. And I was thinking, man, if I ever got married, I want a mother-in-law like Karen. Here is this woman who loves crafts and I love crafts and loves the Lord and just is a cuddle bug. Like, I love her cuddles. That was one thing I loved, that she was just such a cuddle bug. Um, and like I had talked about in my other podcast with my marriage, I was married prior to this, like prior to my husband now. And unfortunately, that was not the mom that I wanted. It was, in fact, completely opposite. And here I had wanted a mother-in-law so much that would be so loving. And um, that mother-in-law was nothing like that. And um, hurtful and just hard to be around, didn't feel loved. 12 later, I got a divorce, like I talked about, and had 3 kids. And I remember praying that God would bring me a man that would love me and love my kids as his own. I remember praying for that for so long. And you have to listen to my other podcast because I don't want to go into a big long story with my husband again. But listen to my prior podcast on the marriage one, and that will kind of give you the back end of the story. And guess who showed up in my life? Mark, my best friend that I have known my whole entire life. And I was married and I was incredibly blessed to have my mother-in-law. Like, she was my mother. And here was this person that I was like, man, I want a mother-in-law like Karen. Like, that would be the most coolest thing. And now my dream was coming true. I got to have Karen as my mother-in-law. Like, that was just crazy. And I I love her so much. And I am just so thankful for just my treasured moments with her. Um, Between going to doing crafts at our house, and when we would, before we moved, we would do crafts at our house. And when we did move, when we would come to visit, you know, it was funny because we would go out thrifting. We love to thrift, and I love to thrift. And I'm so glad that I got a mother-in-law that loves to thrift. We would go out thrifting. So the guys would go. We had this whole day planned, you guys. And if you have husbands that golf, you will understand. But my husband and my father-in-law would go out golfing. They would plan a day, like when we come visit or whatever, they would go out golfing, and my mother-in-law and I would leave. As soon as they're gone, we would plan a day and we would be gone. And we would hit thrift stores after thrift stores, and we would look at things, and we would go to like the GWO, which is the Goodwill outlet, and they have like these bins of things, and we'd go through things. And what I love about my mother-in-law is that she wouldn't go shopping for, I mean, she had craft stuff, so she would look for certain stuff for crafting, but she would shop for other people. So she would shop for this um program called Thrive, and she would look for different things for making the jewelry. And she would make jewelry for these ladies, these mission ladies. And she would see somebody that maybe needs something like clothes, and she would buy clothes for them, or a family that needs something. She would always buy for other people. But of course, she would buy for a couple things for herself, like purses or, you know, but she was lucky. Like, even in purses, she would find real gold, and like somebody didn't get out. And like, this woman was like the luckiest woman alive. So here we are. We planned our day. So we would go thrifting, and then we would go buy salads to go or go get some lunch really quick. And then we would race home before the guys. Like, she would always text, my father-in-law, and be like, hey, just checking to see, are you guys going to be home for lunch? Just to kind of just test the waters to see where they're at. And like, no, we're going to eat a hot dog on the course. And they would always play, they would usually play 24 pars. Not 24, oh my gosh, 12 pars. 12 pars. I can't think of this right now. 9 pars, 12 pars. Okay, 12 pars. I'm still learning golf. 12 pars. And so we would try to plan it to be home before the guys would get home. Well, there was this one time because she would want to hide this stuff. She didn't want him to know like all the stuff that she would get. And so there was one time where we cut it close. Like the guys didn't tell us right away. And we realized that they were like pulling out the same time we were. So we were like hiding stuff in the dryer because we knew my father-in-law wouldn't look at the dryer. We're like trying to like hide stuff. It was just so funny, like trying to beat the boys home before their golfing game would be done. And I am just so treasured and so just blessed by her ability to love and serve so many people out there. Like she served. And she was the one that taught me that it's okay to be a seed planter when, there's so many other people that lead people to Christ. She was the one that told me that being a seed planter is okay, that that's your job, and that you got to be that person to speak the name of Jesus in these people. She left us this past year to be with the Lord. It's coming up on a year that she was coming up on a year. She was here for my son's graduation. She was not doing well. We thought she was doing a little bit better. And this past year, she we made an emergency trip to Tucson, and I got to be there with her, and I got to hold her hand. And I just prayed with her. And I know that she always loved having her hair combed, and she always had her nails beautifully done. And I remember just taking lotion, just rubbing a hand on her lotions, like lotion in her hands. And here is a woman that I like loved since I was a child, and that I've known since I was a child. And then I dreamed of having a mother-in-law like that, and I finally get blessed to have a mother-in-law. All too short. And I know right now she's with the Lord, and I'm so thankful that she's in a place where she has no more pain. But I will tell you, I miss her. And I am so thankful and blessed. And when I go thrifting, when I go thrifting, I feel her presence. I feel her presence. I felt like she was with me the other day. I'm trying to learn how to golf, and I'm at the Goodwill, and I see this beautiful bag, and it was like not your typical girly golf bag. It was orange, and it was a bit pretty orange, and it had beautiful daisies on it, which I love daisies. Like that's one of my favorite flowers. That's kind of like how I knew my mother-in-law was with me, because like, how often do you find an orange golf bag that has daisies on it? And that's kind of how I knew that was my mother-in-law leading me to go over there. And this bag, I'm telling you guys, was brand new. It didn't even look like it was used. And so I got the bag, and I loved the way it like was on me. I just felt comfortable and hearing, like I said, I'm trying to learn to golf. So I'm like, for me, I'm like, I need some kind of comfort carrying these golf clubs around. So then my daughter and I decided to go to another thrift store. And at this thrift store, I was like, I'm laughing because I'm like, my mother-in-law has such a great sense of humor because of the whole golf story and how we were all trying to race, home before, my husband and my father-in-law would get there. And it's, why they're out golfing. And here she has a sense of humor. It's sending me to like show me these like golf bags. And then I get to this other thrift store, and there is a golf bag sitting behind the counter, and I'm looking at the clubs, and I'm like, I know they named the clubs because my husband has these clubs. And they were like name brand high-end clubs. And I looked at the price of the golf bag, and I was like, oh my gosh. It was like the golf bag that I had, the orange one, was brand new, and I paid $14 for it. I looked it up later on. It was like a $150 bag, and it's literally brand new. And then this other one, I decided to get it because I felt like my mother-in-law was telling me to get this bag like it was meant to be. So I get this one. So here I have these two golf bags. So I'm in the heart. So I'm trying to explain this to my husband, you guys. I'm like, so honey, I'm like, I take him for a car ride. I'm like, so I don't want you to get mad at me. I kind of went to the thrift store and because he wasn't out golfing, so I couldn't hide all this stuff. And here they are, golf bags. And I was like, so I kind of bought a golf bag, maybe two golf bags. And some golf clubs. He goes, but you already have some that you were was given to you. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, I really felt like your mom was telling me to get these. And so I kind of, told him that story. And we took the golf bags out and I kind of let him explore the golf bag and like him explore the other ones with the golf clubs. He goes, we looked these golf clubs up and I had over $500 of golf clubs in my bag, the second bag, and they were all name brand and they were women's ones. So I chuckle at that because I really felt like my mother-in-law was there and I could still go to thrift stores and there were certain things that I'll see that it's like my mother-in-law, like I just know she was there. Like she's just chuckling and showing me these things just to have a good laugh. And I miss her. I miss her. Now that I'm older, I've grown to love my mother even more. We didn't always have the best relationship when I was a teenager or even in my 20s. We didn't get along. And I pray for my daughter, my oldest daughter right now. This is something that I'm really opening up to you guys about. I have an older daughter that's in her 20s and she's not spoken to me in years and years. And I don't know why. And now that I'm older, I love my moments. I love our Jesus talks. She, like I said, it was the blessed to be gifted with teaching and it's come natural to her. And she teaches women's Bible studies. And I just love our moments and memories of when my mom and I would go into the thrift stores and even at the GW bins, the Goodwill bins. And I remember at this one time we were like going through and we're just, messing around. And there was this wig. And my mom takes this, just her silly moment. It was so much fun to see my mom do this. And she took this wig and she just tosses it up in the air and it lands on some person, like older man's head. And I'm never gonna forget that moment because it was so funny. But treasuring each moments, treasure your moments with your moms. Whether you are a mom that has daughters, grab onto those daughters and love them. Pray over them. Pray over your daughters and your sons. Treasure those moments. And I leave you with today for thanking you for listening to my podcast, my special podcast in honor of Mother's Day. And I hope that some way that you walk away with feeling loved and little couple belly laughs at my stories and just taking the world on today as a mom is not easy. And I pray for the moms out there. But be sure to jump on my website. For my business, it has the full story, which you can read. It's pureevergreen.com, and you can see my natural products there and um, share my podcast and bless others. And for all the chicken moms out there, you can hear my chickens and all the dog moms. I leave you guys today, and I hope you have a wonderful, happy Mother's Day. I love all of you mothers out there. Bye.